Imagine for a moment the starry sky thousands of years ago. Would you believe that, without telescopes or advanced technology, our ancestors were already unraveling cosmic secrets that still fascinate us today? Prepare for a surprising revelation. The Bible, an age-old book you might know for its religious narratives, holds within its pages traces of a profound astronomical knowledge. Forget the idea that faith and science have always been on opposite sides. Let's embark on a journey that connects the sacred and the scientific, showing how ancient peoples observed the heavens and recorded this wisdom in their scriptures. As we explore a specific passage from the book of Job, you'll discover that the constellations of Orion and Pleiades weren't just luminous points in the sky, but crucial elements for understanding the world and existence. Be ready to expand your intellectual and cultural horizons. We'll unveil how the Bible, beyond its spiritual messages, offers us a window into the understanding of the cosmos that was relevant and sophisticated for its time. Understand the interaction between faith and science in remote times, and discover how this ancestral knowledge can enrich your contemporary worldview. Prepare for an enriching experience that goes beyond common sense, connecting you with the wisdom of past civilizations and revealing a unique perspective on one of the most influential texts in human history. Open your mind to a new dimension of knowledge and let yourself be surprised by the fascinating link between the Bible and the stars. Often, when we think of science and faith, we are led to imagine separate, even opposing fields. This view, although common, simplifies a much richer and more complex relationship, especially when we look to the past. Many believe that the Bible is restricted to spiritual teachings, disconnected from any scientific knowledge. However, this perspective ignores the historical and cultural context in which the scriptures were written and how ancient peoples understood the world around them. Imagine a world without electric light, without the light pollution of modern cities. The night sky was a constant spectacle, a practical guide, and a source of mystery and admiration. For ancient civilizations, knowledge of the stars was not a luxury but a vital necessity. Agriculture, navigation, timekeeping, and even religious practices depended on careful observation of celestial movements. Constellations, like Orion and Pleiades, were not just imaginary drawings in the sky, but essential tools for orienting oneself and understanding the cycles of nature. Mentioning these constellations in the Bible, as in the book of Job, is not an insignificant detail. It is an indication that the biblical authors and the cultures that influenced them possessed practical and significant astronomical knowledge integrated into their worldview. The problem we are going to address is precisely this limited view of the relationship between faith and science. We need to demystify the idea of an inevitable conflict and recognize that, in remote times, the search for God and the search for understanding the cosmos went hand in hand. By exploring Job 38:31 and the context of ancient astronomy, we will solve this knowledge gap and enrich our understanding of the Bible and ancestral wisdom. Get ready to discover how the stars in the sky and the words in the scriptures connect in a surprising way. Visually, we could show images of ancient night skies contrasting with modern urban skies to illustrate the importance of the sky for the ancients. This connection between the Bible and the stars is fascinating, don't you agree? Your vision enriches our debate. Participate in the comments, share your ideas and questions. Your opinion is valuable for exploring this incredible topic together. Join our community down below, ask questions and share experiences. Your interaction is fundamental for us to continue learning together. Subscribe so you don't miss the next discoveries. To understand the connection between the Bible and ancient astronomy, the first step is to analyze Job 38:31 in detail. God questions Job, "Can you bind the chains of Pleiades or loose the cords of Orion?" This seemingly simple question reveals a deep knowledge of the constellations. Pleiades and Orion are not random figures. They are real star clusters, easily visible and recognized by various ancestral cultures. The Pleiades, a set of bright stars, were important for agricultural calendars in various civilizations, indicating times of planting and harvesting. Orion, with its unmistakable belt, served as a guide for navigators and marked seasons of the year. Mentioning these constellations in Job is not poetic by chance. It demonstrates that the biblical author, or the tradition in which he was inserted, possessed a practical knowledge of the night sky. The goal here is to realize that the Bible, in certain passages, reflects the knowledge of the time. We are not talking about modern science, but about observation and interpretation of the cosmos that were crucial for ancient life. The divine question in Job, therefore, serves to illustrate the grandeur of God in the face of human smallness, using examples of cosmic elements known and respected. To apply this understanding, start reading the Bible with a broader view. When you find references to nature or the sky, ask yourself, what did this mean for the time? How was this knowledge integrated into the worldview of that time? By doing this, you will realize that the Bible is much more than a religious book. It is a historical document that connects us with ancestral wisdom and the integrated vision of faith and knowledge. We live in a world where often science and faith are presented as opposing forces, a constant conflict in public debates and even in our personal reflections. This polarization generates unnecessary tensions and prevents a richer understanding of reality. Precisely in this scenario, rescuing the perspective that the Bible, a text of faith, contains elements of astronomical knowledge, becomes incredibly relevant. Today, more than ever, we need bridges between different areas of knowledge. Excessive specialization has fragmented us, and the search for a holistic view of the world is an urgent need. Understanding that our ancestors did not separate faith and observation of nature, that they saw the cosmos as part of an intelligible divine order, can inspire us to overcome outdated dichotomies. The mention of Orion and Pleiades in Job 38:31 is not an archaeological curiosity. It is a reminder that knowledge in its various forms has always been part of the human journey. Ignoring this dimension of the Bible is missing a valuable opportunity for dialogue between the past and the present, between faith and reason. The central problem is the simplistic view that the Bible is just a religious book, disconnected from any scientific understanding. This view prevents us from recognizing the ancestral wisdom present in the scriptures and from learning from the integration of faith and knowledge that existed in remote times. Understanding astronomy in the Bible now is crucial to rethink this dichotomy, seeking a more unified and enriching view of human knowledge in all its dimensions. To understand in depth the mention of Orion and Pleiades in the Bible, we need some conceptual bases. Firstly, what are constellations? Imagine joining bright points in the night sky and forming drawings. These drawings are the constellations, apparent groupings of stars that were named and interpreted by various ancient cultures. It's like looking at the clouds and seeing figures but in the starry sky. Orion and Pleiades are prominent constellations. Orion, easily identified by the three aligned stars, the famous Belt of Orion, was seen as a giant hunter in many mythologies. The Pleiades, a more tenuous star cluster known as the Seven Sisters, were important for agricultural calendars in various civilizations. Have you heard of the Seven Sisters? They are the Pleiades. It is crucial to understand that astronomy in antiquity was observational. Without telescopes, ancient peoples followed the movements of the sun, the moon, the stars with the naked eye. This observation allowed predicting seasons, guiding navigations, and organizing calendars. Did you know that the pyramids of Egypt are aligned with constellations? Astronomy was vital. The Bible, written over centuries in ancient cultures, reflects this worldview. When Job 38:31 asks about binding the chains of Pleiades or loosening the cords of Orion, it is not a modern astronomy lesson. It is a language of the time, using known celestial elements to express divine power and human limitation. Do you see how the Bible connects with the knowledge of the time? In summary, to appreciate the depth of Job 38:31, we need to understand constellations as cultural entities and practical tools for the ancients, recognize Orion and Pleiades as important celestial references, and situate the Bible in its historical context, where observational astronomical knowledge was an integral part of life and faith. Now that we understand the basic concepts, how to apply this view of the Bible and ancient astronomy. A practical point is in biblical reading. When you come across mentions of nature, the sky, do not ignore them as mere figures of speech. Investigate. What was the astronomical knowledge of the time? How does this influence the message of the text? For example, when reading Psalms that exalt creation, we can appreciate that this exaltation included a recognition of the observed cosmic order. Another application is in understanding ancient cultures. The Bible is a historical document. Understanding its relationship with astronomy helps us to reconstruct the mentality of the time, the worldview of the people who produced and transmitted these texts. This enriches our understanding of human history in general. Imagine studying ancient Egypt and its astronomy linked to the pyramids and connecting this with biblical references. A challenge arises when confronting fundamentalist views that read the Bible literally and decontextualized. Resistances may arise to the idea that the Bible reflects knowledge of the time, interpreting this as diminishing divine inspiration. The strategy is to show that recognizing the historical and cultural context enriches understanding, not diminishes it. After all, God reveals himself in specific human contexts. Another challenge is our modern mentality, so separated from nature. We lost the direct connection with the night sky that ancient peoples had. To overcome this, we can seek to observe the sky, even in cities, read about ancient astronomy, and try to rescue some of this admiration and this integrated vision of the cosmos that our ancestors possessed. To delve deeper, let's consider the influence of biblical astronomy in other fields. Archaeology, for example, reveals that ancient temples and cities often aligned with celestial events, reflecting a worldview where the cosmos and the terrain integrated. The Temple of Solomon, described in the Bible, had orientations that may have astronomical connotations, connecting the sacred and the celestial in an architectural way. Anthropology also illuminates. Studies of ancient cultures show that the night sky was a book of practical and symbolic knowledge. Myths and rituals often echoed celestial patterns, and the Bible, in this context, participates in this cultural language. The creation accounts, religious festivals, and even the narrative of the Exodus can be reread in the light of astronomical symbolism present in the ancient world. A pivotal example is the research on the Star of Bethlehem. Historians of astronomy and theologians debate whether the phenomenon described in the Gospel of Matthew was a real astronomical event, a comet, a planetary conjunction, and how this fits into the context of the astrological knowledge of the time. This case illustrates the complexity of interpreting biblical celestial references in the light of historical and astronomical science, demonstrating that Bible and astronomy is a rich and multifaceted, interdisciplinary field of study. Scholars such as Dr. David Rohl, an archaeologist and historian, in his research on ancient chronology, argue that the precision of the Egyptian calendar, heavily based on astronomical observations, influenced biblical calendars and chronologies. This suggests a cultural and astronomical knowledge interconnection between the biblical world and neighboring civilizations. Archaeological data from sites in the Middle East, such as Göbekli Tepe, with its astronomical alignments dating back millennia before the Bible was written, demonstrate that the interest and ability to observe the sky were deeply rooted in the cultures of the region. These findings reinforce the plausibility that the Bible, as a product of these cultures, also reflected this knowledge. Opinions from theologians and historians of science, such as Dr. Owen Gingerich, astronomer and historian of science at Harvard, emphasize that the Bible, although not a scientific book, uses the language and cosmological references available in its time. Interpreting these references contextually is crucial to understanding the biblical message in its entirety. A real example: the interpretation of scholars on Psalm 19, which describes the heavens proclaiming the glory of God. Analyses show that the poetic language may reflect an understanding of the observable cosmic order, where the regular movements of the stars were seen as manifestations of divine wisdom. The relevance of this: understanding biblical astronomy challenges simplistic views of the faith-science conflict, promotes a richer dialogue between areas of knowledge, and connects us with ancestral wisdom, showing that the search for meaning and the observation of the world have always been interconnected human journeys. Recognizing this enriches our reading of the Bible and our understanding of human history. Perhaps you still wonder, okay, the Bible mentions stars, so what? What do I gain from this? The big takeaway is to realize that by understanding this connection, we expand our view of the Bible itself. It ceases to be an isolated book and reveals itself as a very rich historical document, a portal to the mentality of ancient peoples. Think about it. For millennia, humanity has looked to the sky and sought answers. Cultures like the Babylonian, 2,000 years before Christ, already mapped the stars with incredible precision, influencing the Mediterranean world and indirectly biblical culture. By recognizing that Job spoke of Orion and Pleiades, we do not diminish faith, but we understand that faith is expressed in the languages and knowledge of each time. A theologian might say, God reveals himself in human contexts, and astronomy was a crucial part of the context of the biblical world. So the next time you read a psalm about the heavens or Job 38, remember, these aren't just poetic metaphors, but echoes of an ancestral wisdom that integrated faith and the careful observation of the universe. This perspective enriches your reading and connects you with the human journey of searching for meaning, from the stars to the sacred. To recap, we've discovered that the Bible, in passages like Job 38:31, reflects an astronomical knowledge of ancient peoples, mentioning real constellations like Orion and the Pleiades. This doesn't diminish the sacred text, but reveals its connection to the world of that time, where celestial observation was vital and integrated into their worldview. Understanding this connection brings us multiple benefits. First, a richer and more contextualized reading of the Bible, appreciating its historical and cultural nuances. Second, overcoming the false dichotomy between faith and science, recognizing that in ancient times, the search for God and the search for knowledge went hand in hand. Third, a valuing of ancestral wisdom, realizing that even without modern technology, our ancestors unlocked secrets of the cosmos. So, what now? Dive deeper. Explore books and articles on biblical astronomy. Research the worldview of ancient peoples. Observe the night sky with new eyes. Share this discovery with friends, in study groups, on social media. Challenge the limited view that faith and science are opposites, showing how the Bible, by mentioning the stars, invites us to a broader and more integrated understanding. The journey of knowledge is infinite, and you're just beginning to unlock a fascinating universe. Let's go together. Leave a comment and share your next explorations. At the end of this journey through the biblical stars, here's an invitation. Look at the night sky with new eyes. The same constellations that guided the peoples of the Bible shine above us today. silent witnesses to a millennia-old search for meaning and connection with the cosmos. And the Bible, by mentioning them, reminds us that this search is inherent in the human experience, intertwining faith and knowledge since ancient times. May the rediscovery of astronomy in the scriptures inspire a broader and more integrated vision. May we overcome the barriers between faith and science, recognizing that both are ways of exploring the vastness of existence. Just as the ancients looked to the stars for guidance and mystery, may we look to the Bible with the same openness, finding not only answers, but also a continuous invitation to admiration and wisdom. And remember, every time you contemplate the starry sky, you are in communion with past generations, connected to a cosmic story that pulsates in every biblical verse and in every flicker of distant light. May this perception illuminate your journey of knowledge and faith towards ever broader and more fascinating horizons.